And we're live, or we should be at least. Please let me know if everybody can hear me all right. Uh, and we'll do a little bit of a audience poll. Um, I'm back to my old microphone, which is the Rode NT1A, and I have this sound noise suppression thing on OBS. Here it is without. Please let me know which you prefer. I will be um, I will be, what do you call it, turning it off during the sound test. So everything sounds all right. People are saying, okay, I better with it, so I will turn it on. People are saying I'm late. I am not late, I think. Okay, so we asked this mouse is the MX Master S2. All right. Sorry if I'm a little bit disorganized today because I had to set up in like 25 minutes. But I do have an agenda. I believe this stream is going to be a little bit longer than usual because it's got that foam stuff that you got to fiddle with, and I also want to build it and compare it against a whole bunch of boards. All right, before we get started, some background on this kit. I reserved it on November 11th. It was delivered April 5th. They initially estimated Q1 delivery. This is pretty close. I'd count it. And the price was the $170 for the kit, and $20 for the additional PC plate I have. But yeah, I will be building it with Gateron yellows. Yeah, so just to set your expectations straight, this is going to be a long and probably really boring stream, but stick with me. I might have some insights. I also didn't watch any GMMK Pro content, so this is really my freshest look into the keyboard. Let's see. Another thing I'll say is that this is not a review unit. GMMK doesn't know I bought this. They have no way to connect my order to the channel, and this is basically how you're gonna get it. Yeah, full price for everything. So we have this disclaimer here. It says stuff about firmware, how you gotta flash it or whatever. I'm not gonna do that in this stream, but I will log my experiences for the review. As well, on the bottom here, something we really never see. This is a 2-year warranty on this keyboard. I would like to see what the terms are because there are a lot of ways that a board can break. I assume this is just for parts and assembly and that kind of stuff. So looking at exterior boxes first, this plate, hard to believe it was $20 with this kind of packaging. We'll see how the actual product is. It is polycarbonate. It's kind of weird that they show PC plate mount stab cutouts, but we'll get more into that later. This is the box itself. It's very nice. It's got a very pre-built feel to it. Lots of fun little descriptions on in the back. One thing I'll say about this board is that the thing that strikes me is this board seems to check every box that people have been sort of asking for in custom keyboards for a long while. And yeah, let's get right into it. If you want to read this, you can freeze frame and read it. But it's the usual sort of marketing jargon. The glorious marketing is kind of a lot. I mean, this Ascend, like, I maybe appreciate that they're sticking to their guns, but I don't know. I couldn't do it. I mean, for enough money, I could do it, but this kind of like, oh, PC gaming race is just, it's just a lot. Nice little box here. Do you want to ascend? Now you can with a regular pre-built RGB keyboard. Nice little candy for you here. I appreciate that finger hold. I'll put that aside for later. It looks like this is our gasket material. This says optional extra gasket strips. Oh, so maybe they're pre-installed. I appreciate the optional stuff. I don't think the Vega came with optional, and there's a whole bunch of people asking for replacements. Nice braided cable with properly molded ends rather than the stupid heat shrink that everybody seems to use. Seems nice. A keycap puller, the style that I don't really like. You know, people always say these scratch up keycaps, and I didn't believe them until I scratched some GMK up, and that was very sad. A simple keycap or switch puller. This is about the same that you see it on drop keyboards, and there's nothing much to it. The foam is maybe a little bit more premium and padded than something you find from KVD fans, but that doesn't really matter too much here. All right, and just to get the unboxing portion out of the way, let's do the plate. I am going to add GAT yellows to it. So this video is probably going to get a little bit of attention from people who are new to the channel. I cover like the really nerdy, super cringe, enthusiast keyboard stuff content here. I get into the really boring specs, spending way too much time over how good or bad the aluminum finish is, that kind of stuff. So basically, you're just going to hear me complain about tiny little things that nobody else would notice on this channel. So, I mean, if you're into that, this would probably be the first of the coverage found for the GMMK Pro. So right off the bat, some pretty interesting stuff going on this polycarbonate plate. So here's our plate. And what's this? What are these little things? I'm asking that like I have the answer. I don't know what these are. Maybe some kind of alignment thing. We'll see later. But this to me suggests that, oh, and all of these circle marks here suggest to me that this is injection molded somehow, much like the NK65. As opposed to cut plates like this. This is from a sheet of polycarbonate, and it's, I don't know, laser cut or CNC'd. These usually tend to be pretty expensive, but if they're making injection molded plates, I'm all for it. It was $20. Very cool. I do have my doubts about these protrusions though, that I haven't seen anything like that in a keyboard before, so that'll be a point of attention for me. Right. Let's now get into the keyboard proper. It is tool punched. It's nice. It feels good in the hand. This plate, maybe there's a temporary thing here, but it's extremely hard. It feels like integrated plate. The metal plates, maybe the... Yeah, I think the polycarbonate plate is injection molded. I don't think... Well, I'm no expert on anything really, but I have my doubts. Okay, let's get into the keyboard. So this is a 75% layout keyboard with exploded arrow keys, separated function row, and of course this knob. Believe it or not, this is actually my first keyboard with a knob. I don't know what use I'm going to find for it. Maybe I'll program it to be the iPod Classic type typing. But it's clicked, or it's tactile. It's got steps. It's not smooth. Oh, it's like a scroll wheel like this. The bottom, glorious logo, no weight. Of course, for a more legit mass-produced product, you have the FCC sticker. I know the Plank had a issue with that way back in the day. You have the USB Type-C cutout. Pull the knob to remove it. I can't. The stabs is the glorious, what do they call it? Goat stabs or something? Greatest of all time stabs. That will be tested. The feet are sort of cylindrical as opposed to being little bumps. I don't think that makes any difference, but there's that. The side profile, it's kind of like a 8X type of seamless design, which I really like. This RGB thingy is, I don't know, it's something. It does have a little bit of a pre-built feel to it. Not the keyboard itself, but the side light thing. All right, let's get into the keyboard. I am a little bit concerned about how stiff the plate is feeling. I hope there's some kind of placeholder screws like we saw on the Vega. Put a shoe on your head to prove that you're real. Can't even see my head. I did get a PC plate. Usually, engravings like these are pretty shallow. This is a good couple millimeters. Their branding is really just over the top, but it seems to work. And well, we'll see if they have made a good product. Do I really need to remove the knob to open it? Oh. Right. Oh shoot, okay. That wasn't too bad. Sorry for the scratchy noises, but aluminum is harder than wood, I believe. Ah, there's a guide to opening it. You know me, I never look at guides and then complain about how hard something is. Oh, there goes the screw. Stop promoting each other in the chat. Oh, interesting. Okay. Oh, right, there's a daughter board. Okay, let me show you what I'm seeing. So this is the top. Let's get a good view. These gaskets right off the bat seem kind of thin. Maybe they're recessed. Let me try squishing it down a little bit. I mean, it doesn't really matter if they're squishy because they're so thin. They don't really protrude much from the top of the case. So that's notable. It seems like that may come into play on why this feels so stiff. I do really appreciate that they pre-install the gaskets. It's a pain in the ass for stuff like the D65 and the Vega especially. The plate comes out like this. This does have a daughter board, which I really appreciate. Just undo that daughter board. I see a couple things here. There is a sort of side diffusion material. Focus, please. Between the plate and the PCB. And that's in addition to the material on the case itself. So that's kind of cool. Interested to see how that'll look. The other thing is I see this sort of plate foam going around, and like some people mentioned in the chat, looks like this is stamped metal aluminum plates with bent edges. I assume that's cheaper to produce. And what else? Hot swap sockets. It is Glorious branded hot swap sockets. Very cool. Mono layout. Other thing I noticed is there are screws going all throughout the edge connecting the plate to the PCB. So that's a pretty solid connection. That's in addition to these two middle points here. I haven't seen this kind of edge connection before, but these screws should help you put switches in without having to disassemble the entire board. All right. And the bottom, this is a very thick piece of foam, and you can tell by the indent all over it that there was quite a bit of compression, which maybe explains some of the hardness I felt. And this is the daughter board. Pretty chunky. I'm interested to see if they mitigated shock stuff. Because you know, I don't want to shock the board and kill it. And one thing I noticed is these gasket strips are kind of banged up. You can see this one here, this one here, and this one. God, where is the focus point? Here. And this sort of, I don't know, is evidence of maybe too much pressure on the gasket. So with the plate just resting on the bottom gasket, it sort of moves the way I would expect. And if I put this on, it's not super easy to put on like that. Okay, so it's kind of a pain in the ass to put together. Oh, somebody's saying they're getting the KVD 67 Lite over this. I haven't reviewed either of these boards, but I don't know if that's a good call. Well, maybe that one feels better, but this is probably going to feel more premium. So this is without spruce, and I feel just a little bit of additional compression. And I feel something stopping the compression. And I wonder if that's a element of the case design or something else. I think that's an element of the case design. Oh, another thing I noticed is these side gaskets here, or these are usually for alignment. The Vega has them, the Polaris has them. It's a pain in the ass to put on those boards, so I appreciate that they're pre-installed for us, and I appreciate that, you know, these gasket solutions were done in sort of the meta way, which is using this kind of stuff. The D65 doesn't have anything like it, and yeah, it seems like there was at least a little bit of research done into how this should all work. All right, so that sort of covers our case tour. Other than sort of looking at the finish, I think it looks pretty good. This is the surface finish. What about the interior? I mean, even the interior looks pretty good to me. I'm not seeing up much flaws or blemishes. At the bottom, it's just a piece of gasket. Yeah, this looks really good. It's got a very sort of fine grain. I have the IDB60 here as a point of comparison. This has sort of a visibly finer grain than the IDB60. And I have the K, which is, I would say, a pretty good finish. Seems comparable. Okay. I lost track of where I am. Let me look at my notes. Covered packaging, exterior finish compared to KIDV. Oh, one thing. You know, this keyboard is advertised as Arctic White or something like that. They call it white, and I bought it specifically because they called it white, and maybe that's toxic. It probably is. But I knew it wasn't going to be white, it being anodized. There is no such thing as white anodization. And this is indeed silver. And I saw a lot of people in the comments of the unboxing stream that Glorious did upset about the fact that this is actually silver, not white. And I feel like Glorious should have known that and marked it as silver. What else? I did disassembly. Plate quality seems good. The plate edges are not as sharp as I would have expected. Actually, they're about comparable to anything else you'd get, or any other plate. About comparable to CNC aluminum plates. I think this plate is of really good quality. And I showed you the polycarbonate plate as well. That one has some sort of injection molding marks. So, I mean, it's not a big issue, it's a plate, but you have stuff like this random thing. If you kind of look at it at angles, you have these circles here, like you see we saw on the NK65. And yeah, I mean, it's still sort of a frosted finish, so it looks fine, but you know. Does the plate seem too thick? I don't think so. We'll see when we start to clip in switches later on. It seems alright. Okay, now let's get into the assembly itself. That's what my notes tell me. And this is also kind of interesting to me. All right. This is probably the most involved I've seen on a keyboard assembly. This screw. Do you have the used silicon dampener? Used? Firstly, it doesn't seem like silicon. Let me try undoing the top and bottom ones first. And secondly, I do have it, yes. This is not a glow stick. It's like some Xiaomi thing I found on, what do I call it? Banggood. But I tried to find it again and it's gone. What caps are on this keyboard? Those are the stock caps from the iQnix A80. Okay, so that's 8 screws, front and rear, on the assembly itself. The heck? What's this? I'm gonna pretend I didn't see that. Oh, I see. These things are posts that go in from the bottom of the PCB. Another thing I noticed is the hot swap sockets have 5-pin switch support, which is not something we see on something like the drop keyboards. Oh, this also has proper facing switches, unlike the drop keyboards. I think there's going to be quite a few comparisons to be made versus drop keyboards, because I feel like regardless of how this feels, this is going to entirely obsolete the whole line of drop keyboards. They're simply not competitive. To people heading out, thanks for tuning in. I will have a review of this probably shortly. It'll be my next video. And I'll see you later. Okay, now we got nice little foam here. Some kind of adhesive sticking it to the plate. So it seems a little bit fragile, so I'm not gonna attempt to stick it off and put it in the polycarbonate plate. Here's the PCB. I mean, it's a PCB. What do you want from me? The wire, even in the middle, is kind of greasy. Okay, this is kind of inconvenient. One thing I wanted to cover is the fact that the plate has cutouts for plate mount stabs. You know, I used to think that PCB mount stabs were entirely incompatible with these kind of cutouts, but it seems like it works just fine. But that does pose the question, is this going to be tight enough for PCB mount stabs? I'm also curious why they went with plate mount stab cutouts anyway, if they were going to ship PCB mount ones. It just seems kind of odd. They just make the plate on swill KB. That seems unlikely. Alright, let's take a look at one of these stabs. They are screw-in. Are Durock stabs PCB mount? I know Durock has PCB mount ones. I know there's one other sort of enthusiast company that makes plate mount stabs. I don't know if it's Durock. Alright. Here is the stab. The wire seems especially thick. Oh god. a lot of that gloopy lube. I say oh god like it's a bad thing. I say it because I don't want to touch it. The plastic has threaded inserts, which is an upgrade from every other stab I know. But that won't matter at all if these fail to perform. Let's put them back in. Yeah, goat stabs. I don't know. If I had to go to work and write stuff like goat stabs, I don't know if I could fall soundly asleep at night. My hands are greased up now. This is probably going to be a little bit frustrating to watch. Yeah, you know, I think Micron Novel Keys, the reason for NK65 having plate mount stabs was that they're way cheaper to get installed. But if Glorious could do it, well, I mean, I'm not saying Novel Keys is as big a company as Glorious, but, you know, this is possible. And they got it under $70. So, a lot of impressive things from this keyboard so far. We'll see if it translates to good feels. I'm not super concerned about sound because I don't really care, but I assume there are other content creators who's covered that already. Okay. God, I have lube everywhere. Okay, I'm not really interested in this aluminum plate. I know what aluminum plate keyboards feel like, so I'm gonna use the polycarbonate plate. As I'm putting this on, I'm noticing a little bit of tightness on this cutout here. And this side is a little looser. Okay, you gotta align everything. And also get this going somehow. I forgot how. Okay. Okay, that feels wrong. Okay. Maybe I'll leave this out. This doesn't feel right. Okay, I'm gonna leave out these middle things because the screws, they don't inspire confidence. I don't want to break it this early on. Well, let me try with these screws here. Maybe the PC plate is just kind of tight. Yeah, it's tight. Okay. Anybody know how much the goat stabs are? So the installation is a little bit wonky. I mean, I just probably ruined that thread, but I mean, that's also kind of on me. I'm leaving the foam out because the foam is glued onto the aluminum plate, and I don't really want to take that out because the foam seems like it might break. $15 for the stabs. I guess my other question is, how much are the other stabs? I haven't bought stabs in such a long time. I just recycle all of the ones I've had in the past. Duroc V2s are about $20. Okay, so if the Glorious stabs end up being pretty good, then it'll be a competitive option. I'll have to evaluate that point as well. Okay, well, I don't like having foam anyway, so it's staying off. Sorry. Just put that in there the way it's meant to be played. I lost all of the proper screws. Please don't take this as a review of anything, because I'm probably making all sorts of mistakes, like this screw here. I've lost the countersunk ones because I mixed them up. Stabs are doo-doo. That's disappointing. But we shall see. I do have a set of Zeal stabs from that came with the Xeno. But there's no way in hell I'm gonna pay that much for a set of stabs. Alright. Let's get the switches in. As always, I will be using stock Gateron yellows. The plate thickness seems to be just fine. It clips in maybe even better than a couple other PCB or plates I've seen. Polycarbonate plates, that is. These the fourth and fifth legs for these switches have been worn down quite a bit from being used on so many boards, but they do seem to go in without any problems. I think one of the funnier check marks that they checked is this F13 key. I feel like that's a relatively new trend in the hobby to add an F13, but I think it's kind of funny that they caught on to that one. They must have done their market research pretty well. The company should work with keyboard designers. LZ worked with AB on Core. AR18, yeah, I heard about that one. I feel like usually mass-produced companies have different set of goals than enthusiast people, and those tend to be sort of things that they can't compromise on. I think a lot of companies are looking for durability over many things, so they're probably not going to offer plastic plates or really flexible mounting mechanisms, because flexibility also kind of means susceptibility to breakage. Is lubing recommended for yellow? I recommend lubing for any switch. I just don't do it here because I've outlined my reasoning for using stock Gateron yellows in a different video, but I just do it so that I can get a better idea of how everything feels with a standardized switch. Alright, it's Akimbo SGY time. Goda on yellows. Dude. I believe this takes 86 switches? They call it a compact TKL. Maybe the 75% marketing is not compelling. $82? Is it 82? Is milky Gateron yellow better than standard transparent top Gateron yellow? I don't really know. I haven't really had much interest to explore those because this is just like a tool for me. I don't actually like using them. But I have some all black Gateron yellows and they seem kind of nice. So, okay, Celestial says 75% of a keyboard? No thanks. I want a whole one, as a quote from somebody, or a normie quote, if you will. But it's surprising how much of that I've heard before. Like, I ask people, well, I never talk about the keyboard hobby unprompted, but you know, sometimes they'll be like, how do you use that keyboard? And you know, I say, do you use your numpad very often? And they're like, yes, when they know full well that they don't. I think it's just kind of a way to I don't know, maybe you feel like you're missing out if you don't have all of the keys that you need. All right, that's upside down. These are the stock stabs, yes. Another thing I like, these daughterboard routing channels. We don't see these in even Rama boards. I appreciate that. I'm not a big fan of this layout. Never have been, but that's personal preference, not Glorious's fault, I guess. Yeah, like does anybody know what the scroll lock does? Well, I say that, and I actually do use the insert key daily, and have never used page up and down. And I always use home and end. So maybe people do have different keyboard needs. Oh, another cool thing about this keyboard is that it was announced right after the second Satisfaction 75 drop, where people got overly salty about everything, and everyone was like, "Rip Satisfaction 75," as if these two markets are really that much overlap. Alright, please type in the chat if I should use the brown spacebar or the not brown spacebar. Thank you. This is camping, yes. GMK camping. Not brown? You guys just don't realize the full potential. Not, are you kidding me? Unbelievable. Because my subscribers are a bunch of Normies. I forgot the diffusers. Yeah, I know. They were a little hard to put on. The screws, they were going in so tight that they felt wrong. So I left them out temporarily. But the exterior diffuser is still here. And I also don't intend to turn it on in the stream anyway. Oh, Lucain with $5. Thank you so much. This is a bribe to use the brown spacer. I mean, I don't see any of the other guys donating $5, so thank you, Lucain. 4, 5, 6, 7. Don't take the bribe. I took the bribe. For TU up. Right. 6. Speed run. Putting keycaps on a GMMK Pro, any percent. Oh, actually, it's gotta be 100%. World record. What's the top left keyboard? That's the iQnix A80. Been using it primarily because it's wireless. I love wireless stuff. If it works, that is. Fire key for V. Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, I've never had a use for F13. What do you guys put on F13? What's the site that keeps track of speedruns? You think I can get a new category going on there? Oh, I saw someone saying mod pipe. Yes, I'm a mod piper. Where's the knob? Page. I'll put page up here. GMK or PBT? These are GMK. I don't necessarily support copies of sets. Not that I think they're cutting into GMK sales. I feel like it's a different audience. But just from a correctness standpoint. Oh, do I prefer I use GMK daily, mostly because I just have a lot of it. But I like PBT too. I don't really have a preference. When it comes to general usage, the only thing is if one of them is kind of broken, say by warp, then I don't like using. I don't like using broken keys. I'm also a mod tilde or Keycap profile. I use cherry profile almost exclusively, not because I'm strict about it, but because I have a lot of it, and switch them. Yeah, I'm gonna need a home here. I got myself into an extremely uncomfortable position today for the stream, so that's just incredible luck. Where are all my F? Oh. F6, one more. There we go. I want my keycap texture oily and smooth for speed. Me too. Did I see the new Salvation keyboard? I did see it. I don't really have any interest in it, not because it's not interesting, but because I'm not buying anything right now. I made a giant purchase recently and I need to build up my savings again. Alright, time for a sound test. Get this thing out. Oh shoot, I forgot a key. Well, you guys can deal, right? Alright, I'll mute for a little bit. Alright, this is a GMMK Pro stock getter on yellows PC plate. GMK camping. Microphone is NT1A. Let me just real quick disable the noise suppression. And it's about, I don't know, a foot from the board. And here it goes. Alright, let me mute again to adjust my mic. Alright, that was a useless exercise. I don't care about sound. However, I think it sounds fine. It sounds a lot like other, it sounds like the Vega, kind of. It's got that plasticky bottom out, and it's got that kind of muted thing going on. And I don't look close. I'm just lightly pressing in on it, and there's a little bit of movement. And accordingly, the feel is actually pretty good. The feel is, again, pretty similar to what I felt on the Vega. I mean, the edge keys definitely a little bit harder, but it's alright. I like that. I like the way this feels. The stabs, maybe it's catching, it's capturing a little bit different on stream, but for stock stabs, this doesn't sound all that bad. Sorry about the sirens. Nothing I can do about that. But the spacebar is a little too much. I don't think I can use this daily. I would need to swap it out. But these guys are okay. I think I can use them. I think if I just add a little bit more lube in here, backspace is fine. Left shift is fine. Spacebar probably needs replacement. I am not using foam. Definitely not. Is it still as stiff without the foam and PC plate? No, this feels like a proper PC plate solution. It's not just like a buzzword use PC for the sake of using PC kind of thing. This seems to be implemented all right. Let me get it up in my face for the sound. Yeah, I'm using a different microphone than usual. So I don't know how this is picking up, but I don't know. It sounds about the same. Were the gaskets a buzzword? I can't really say right now. The top gasket seemed a little bit suspicious, it being too thin. I'll have to test it further. The feel is fine. Is it something I would use? I don't know. I don't like the way 75% look. Probably wouldn't use it. I don't have a use for this knob, etc. Yeah, for the review, I will sort of try and get it more accurate to what I'm hearing. I also record in a slightly less noisy room. And I also use loop switches for sound test nowadays. Yeah, I'm not trying to. It's all right that you can't hear the keyboard. It's fine. How do I adjust volume while watching YouTube videos? I mostly don't. I just watch it as is. The people who want a Satisfaction 75 will not buy this. I agree. This is not a Satisfaction 75 killer because it has no clout. Obviously. I spent $500 on a Primus, so I have to trash it to justify my own purchase. Oh. Shoot. Did I break it? I heard a loud crack coming from the knob. So, let's see. Let me check my cheat sheet. Oh, I forgot to check if it was clipped. The stabs, I mean. It doesn't feel mushy, so I assume it's clipped. Let's see. Wait, typing feels sound. Let me get the scale real quick. Here's the weight-o-meter. 3 pounds 9 ounces. 570 or sorry. 1.6 kilos. I think the Glorious rep once said it would weigh like 4 pounds built. That is clearly not the case. It's, you know, mid 3 pounds. Yep. If I just break the encoder. If I broke it, that's not good. The one thing I noticed is that this knob is held onto the encoder really tight. So maybe if I were to pull it at an angle or something like that, it might break. Yeah, just to reiterate, this has no affiliation with Glorious. I have never had any affiliation with any keyboard vendor, and I never would, because if you're getting money from people that make the stuff you're reviewing, then that's a pretty clear conflict of interest, isn't it? So far I haven't even received or accepted review units, because well, I don't have a need to right now. And yeah, I have no relationship with any keyboard vendor, including Glorious. This is my own money. Bought it just like any other people, etc. Let's see. So this is $170. With a PC plate, I guess it's $190. And once you get switches and keycaps going, if you get like the cheapest, then it's gonna be like $50 for switches and keycaps. So that's in the $250 range. This is the Drop Control High Pro. I think fully built, it's $300. One of the most overpriced pieces of junk to exist. I think if you don't specifically need a TKL, I think I would probably choose this over it every single time. Yeah, what else? Is the top bezel thinner than the side and bottom bezels? They seem about the same to me. The bottom bezel is about 10 millimeters, 8 millimeters. Yeah, they're the same. Yeah, I buy under a different account. The only point of compromise is going to be if somebody leaked my mailing address, then that's going to be too bad. How is this versus Leopold? Boom, brought it here. This is the FC 750R PD. I think $120 on mechanicalkeyboards.com. And this keyboard offers an experience that's not covered by this one. I was fully expecting this to be like kind of miss the entire point of polycarbonate plates, that kind of stuff, and sort of have a stiff feel, but it doesn't. I was gonna say, I mean, I had this here to say that probably just get a Leopold, but I mean, I prefer this, and this has a different experience that you can't get in a typical pre-built keyboard. Yeah. Before any more questions, let me just get the first impressions for the timestamp. Yeah, this is the GMMK Pro in silver, not white. It is silver. It's a pretty good keyboard. It does feel a little light for a 75%. I don't like the layout. I don't like the exploded keys. I think the Xenos layout with this stuff kind of all squished together is a better layout. But that's going to be preference. You may like this. The encoder, you may or may not have a use for it. I probably won't. It feels fine in the hand. Aside from this sticker and the glorious logo, this feels like more or less entry-level custom that you could expect from people like KBD fans. I do appreciate the USB Type-C port. One thing I noticed is that this doesn't seem to be properly recessed on the port itself, but well, no buts. That's that. I appreciate the seamless design. I don't really like this light bar. I think it kind of makes it look cheap and have a pre-built feel. The finish itself is really good. The plate finish is good. The PC plate is injection molded, so it's kind of jank, but that's probably more sustainable anyway. The gasket mounting will need further inspection. I don't know if it's effective. But I have felt like gasket mount, the foam strip mount in particular, is kind of just like a box to check, and it doesn't really make as big of a difference as you think. So with that all aside, this keyboard with the polycarbonate plate is, I like the typing feel on it. I don't really care about sound, as long as it's good enough, and it is good enough for me. And yeah, I'm excited to see what else I'll find on the review, because one of the things is pre-builts are going to have considerations that customs don't take, like shock protection. So we'll see if there are actually lessons to be learned for the customs community from this keyboard. I know a lot of people are maybe surprised that I'm not just bashing this keyboard, but I do want to remind you that I'm not like a contrarian just for the sake of being a contrarian. I point out things that do bother me, and from this first impressions, I'm not really seeing a lot to pick on, other than maybe the obnoxious branding. Yeah, that's my first impressions. Let's move on to questions. Anything you want me to do with the board, any internal parts you want to see, just let me know. Let's see. KVD 67 Lite versus KVD 67 PC. Based on the injection molded case that I saw on the NK65, I would say there would definitely be a difference in quality. You might not notice a big difference in weight or anything like that, but machined polycarbonate does feel a little more purposeful. But there's quite a bit of difference in price, isn't there? Drop the board. Do another sound test with the mic closer to the keyboard. Okay, in a little bit. Let's see. Can you take out all the plate screws to see if the feel differs and if the gasket performance? Oh yeah, I'll do that. It's gonna take a little bit. I can get started on it while I answer the questions. Drop a hammer on the keyboard. I don't have easy access to the hammer. Oh, I would say that the included foam, the foam underneath the PCB, likely cancels out the gasket mount. So if you want a gasket mount feel or any kind of flexibility, really, you should take the bottom foam out. Oh, just loosen the screws? Okay, I can take that stop. Oh, there goes another screw. What are your thoughts? So I think this keyboard is actually should be concerning for all of the plastic keyboards that are coming out. In particular, the Kara is right at around this price range, and I assume it's not going to be a drastic price or quality increase from something like an NK65. So I think from a typing feel perspective, the Kara, or kind of a premium feeling keyboard perspective, the Kara is dead on arrival due to the GMMK Pro. Let's see. The typing experience without any case screws doesn't seem to have changed much. What is the problem with plastic, honestly? My only thing is that they don't feel all that premium, and that's not what I'm really looking for in the keyboard hobby. You know, they don't distinguish themselves enough from regular old pre-builts. Rama is a completely different game. I mean, their QC is going to be something, but you know, like, they're not going to be able to change fundamental aspects of a keyboard. This is the Xiaomi something stick. Something stick 2. Yeah, I know it's the second iteration. Where's that screw? Here. Do you think gaskets are kind of pointless on a flexi molded board? I feel like the case probably flexes more than the gasket. I'm not really sure. There are definitely merits to flexible mounting in even flexible boards because typically mounting mechanisms are not they can be designed to be isolated from the case. The PC plate really janky. Yeah, PC plates just kind of tend to do that. That's not, I guess that's not exclusive to Glorious, but it is pretty annoying. It also happens with Palm. Rama's PC is not very good in the internals, but stellar on the outside. Oh yeah, I saw their blog post at one point saying there's going to be a whole bunch of scuffs on the inside. Uh, kind of disappointing. The other thing about Rama is like they just take so long. I understand QC, but you know, other people deliver boards faster. Maybe they just have more units. Oh, I gotta screw it again, right? Did you weigh the board with the foam? I did not. The foam pieces are thin enough that I don't think they would add an appreciable amount of weight. Oh, is there a Tofu 75? Never heard of that one. Any misleading marketing material? Let me cover that after this. One thing I found hilarious, and I saved a picture of this, is that on their product page, they say it's south face, whatever the correct switch orientation is, and then their vendor has the switches facing the wrong way. I thought that was kind of funny. I was thinking that doesn't really inspire confidence in the keyboard itself, but it seems to have worked out. I don't think the experience has changed much by removing these screws. I guess Goat Stab is misleading because they're not literally the greatest of all time. So that's one thing. Oh yeah, Ice White, definitely. It's not white. Okay, let's read through some of the marketing. Introducing the GMMK Pro. This keyboard is a showpiece of design and engineering, intended for enthusiast gamers and professionals with an appreciation for quality. The GMMK Pro has been thoughtfully crafted for a unique, pristine acoustic and haptic typing experience. This board is packed with every feature you could dream of. Our patented, fully modular design enables you to easily hot swap any switch in your arsenal. The gasket-mounted PCB with 5 pins south-facing sockets provides near-perfect sound isolation. A programmable rotary encoder knob, 16.8 million per key RGB, and our premium screw-in GOAT stabilizers elevate to the next level, all powered by a powerful 32-bit ARM processor. The board works out of the box with our easy-to-use Glorious Core software and is compatible with QMK via open source firmware. I will point out that VIA is not open source. Beautiful and durable, all of this is contained within a aesthetically stylish case, each individually CNC machined and engraved from high-quality aluminum. Signature side lighting panels make it shine. A keyboard in truly a league of its own. I will comment that they're technically right. There is no keyboard in its league that does all of the things it does, so that's fine. US ANSI layout, fine. Gasket mounted design, okay. CNC aluminum body, okay. Pre-lubed Glorious Goat stabilizers, screw in, okay. Modular hot swap switches. Well, actually, it doesn't come with any switches. Removable keycaps. Well, actually, it doesn't come with any keycaps. Removable USB cord, USB Type-C 2.0 interface. Full N key rollover, that's amazing. 16.8 million color RGB LED backlight, south facing and side lights. That's pretty good. 6-degree typing angle compatible with QMK VIA. Let's see. Oh, I mean, this is pretty misleading, right? Check these out. This is not what it looks like in person. They have plate mount cuts. Can you remove the key? Anything else? Fully modular switches. All right, what about this thing? Switch plates come in a variety of materials. The composition of your switch plate can affect the acoustics and typing experience. Installing this switch plate will require disassembly of the GMMK Pro to properly install. Please visit our website for instructions. Oh, yeah, this is kind of fun. It says aluminum, default on GMMK Pro, flexibility, medium, ideal for all types of switches. Brass, flexibility low, ideal for linear switches. Polycarbonate, flexibility high, ideal for tactile or clicky switches. I guess this comes down to preference, but if so, the keyboard uses a gasket mount, presumably because it wants to avoid being super harsh. And under that mindset, you should be trying to avoid all things that make stuff harsh. For example, using like you know what? I guess the recommendation is kind of similar to what I would recommend. Even though people say, oh, linear for polycarbonate versus tactile for brass, I kind of recommend the opposite, because if you have a tactile event and you're going down faster than you would on a linear, then you probably want a softer bottom out. But I mean, this is just marketing garbage, so no need to look too much into it. I guess I'll need to test it with clicky switches. Thankfully, I have some Gateron black blues, so that'll be really good. Yeah, not just 16 million colors, 16.8 million colors. Let's see, what else did I bring for reference? Okay, so I think in the realm of customs, I think the IDV60 is going to be a pretty close comparison, not in terms of quality or typing feel or anything like that, but in terms of price. This, I believe, was under $150 at Group Buy, and this is $170, and this doesn't have a plate, and it's a really simple mount. And for the most part, keyboards that aren't tray mount don't really get any cheaper than this guy. And to see the GMMK Pro come into the hobby with a fairly compelling offering for such a low price is pretty surprising. And I don't know, like, is that just the truth about producing so many of the keyboards that the unit price goes down? I didn't think it would scale that much, but yeah, and I assume they made a ton of these cases, and that's why they were able to sort of pick good finishes versus, you know, when you make 10 cases, maybe one or two are gonna be bad. But yeah, all of the customs have been moving up market for the last several years, and it is pretty cool to see something like this come and check every checkbox. Admittedly, it is a little bit weird having a company that's much larger than any of the vendors we have and sort of like destroying every other offering. But, you know, this is a consumerist hobby, so the vendors are gonna have to deal, I guess. They'll have to make a compelling offering somehow. It is surprising to me that this is as good as it is, at least in this first look. And yeah, I guess I'm excited to see what the revisions are. And I know this has been so positive that it's becoming suspicious, but I assure you there was no money changing hands. I mean, I don't know how to prove it to you, but you'll just have to take my word for it. But yeah, it's an alright keyboard, but that's just the first impressions. We'll see how it does in the review. I did my prediction for this board was that it was gonna be mostly okay, and it's gonna have like a couple like glaring flaws because it was made by people who might not know everything about the hobby, but I'm not seeing any glaring flaws right now. So maybe it's gonna come down to that firmware that I heard somebody bricked their board with, or maybe it's gonna come down to how this knob is implemented, or some third thing like that. I'm not seeing anything obvious right now. All right, for realsies, let's do like 10 more minutes. Anything else you guys want to know? Any questions? Any general questions? Questions about this board? Questions, comments, concerns? Another sound test? Okay. Okay, this is a GMMK Pro, about maybe 6 inches from the microphone. That probably sounded absolutely horrendous, huh? I mean, you wouldn't get that close with your ears, would you? All right. What's your favorite light, tactile, or tactile linear switch? I haven't used that term in a while, but yeah, it is still Kel Pro Purples. Novel Keys discontinued their 5-pin version, so I'm really sad. Can you review the cons you had? Not many cons. Kind of strange internals. The white is not silver, etc. Switches, stock add-on yellows. Stability issues. If I clip the 2 plastic pins from my 5-pin switches and put them, the only thing is going to be if when you pull the keycaps out, the switch will come with it, and you may have some alignment issues or stability issues. So you should probably get 5-pin switches. Anything else? I think somebody asked for trying the USB Type-C thing. I don't actually have a cable with me because I'm wireless now. Oh, here it is. Okay. It would be just my luck to break the keyboard. So I don't know if you can see it, but it is actually not all the way in. I don't think you can see it. But the port needs to be recessed from its surface, and it's not. I guess that's one kind of oversight. All right, let's see. Would you recommend wiping off the G-lube? I don't think I will. Gasket implementation feels fine. I can't tell if this feeling is from the gasket or the polycarbonate plate. I'll be able to tell more when I try it with the aluminum plate. How does the stiffness compare to top mount aluminum board? This is polycarbonate plate, so it doesn't really compare, but this is much more flexible. The aluminum plate is here. The iQnix, yeah, this is my daily driver for now because it's wireless. Until I assemble the G60, and that's like a wireless custom. If that works well, I'll switch over to that. How are the vibes on this board? Vibes very good. It's actually pretty comparable to the IDV60. It's a different kind of vibe. This is more like a hot vibe, and this is more like a trampolini vibe. But it's very good. I did not replace the stabs. They sound above average over stock pre-builds, but below enthusiast. The spacebar is particularly bad. It doesn't sound good IMO. That's fine. I will try to convey as accurate of a sound, but it never really conveys over the internet. The keyboard you saw just now is the IDB60. As a stock board, what would you rate the stiffness? The stiffness, this is about as flexible keyboards get with a full polycarbonate plate. Okay, I will definitely need to try out third-party stabs to see if they're tight-fitting. Swap to a different switch. I don't have other switches, sorry. Have they fixed the plate so you can use aftermarket stabs? I assume so, because these stabs are already PCB mount. Are they shipping right now? I believe so. This shipped. I'm part of the regular order. This isn't a review unit, and this shipped in just a couple days after the notification. I do not put foam in my space bars. Have I tried carbon fiber plate? I tried it on the Space 65. It feels pretty good. Not super flexible at all, but it has an interesting bottom out feel. What kind of mods do you think are absolutely necessary? Like, for example, adding your own neoprene foam or something? That's a little hard to say from this first impressions. Right now, I would say not many mods are going to be necessary. Maybe removing some of these screws just to get rid of hard points. Probably removing the middle plate screws in particular. Absolutely necessary for me is going to be removing the bottom foam. You can go either way with the plate foam. Let's see. Why don't you put foam? Because the bottom foam interferes with the flex. I believe that if you put the bottom foam in, you're not going to be able to feel any flex from this PC plate. Does the gasket do anything? That's one of the harder things to evaluate in this setting, because I need to disassemble and look at it a while, but it could be the I'll have to compare it to the 8X with the polycarbonate plate to see if it feels similar, because the sort of mounting point distances are the same. So if this feels about the same as a top mount polycarbonate plate on the 8X, I would say that the gasket mostly does nothing for feel anyway. But that's going to be one of the tests I do. I would recommend this over the KBD75. I haven't tried the Idabao, but that's integrated plate, right? I wouldn't like that. Can you add the foam and do another? Okay, fine. The things I do for you guys. Oh, I forgot I've been sound testing with and without desk mats, but you shouldn't be taking this as definitive anyway. Get the foam. I'm planning to review this ASAP. I assume it's good for views. I hope. I'll be getting to work on it ASAP, but I'll need to use it for like a week. So give me like 2 or 3 weeks. I reviewed the D65, and I felt that the gasket implementation on that one was just for show, because it was just so stiff. I have cherry browns in this keyboard, and I've been actually enjoying it a lot. So for the review, it's gonna be just stock Gateron yellows, but afterwards, I mean, if I keep it, I might put cherry browns in. Somebody wants a comparison between this and the IQNX. I will do that shortly. Glasses already knows I like cherry browns. I don't know why I keep putting this back on. Okay. Somebody's asking about wrist rests for this board. This doesn't feel like a particularly low board. It doesn't feel super tall either. It's about right in the middle. So if you type like this, you might want a wrist rest. I type floating wrist, so I don't need one, but you probably want one for non-floating typing. Okay, mute the mic real quick. Okay, this is with the foam, about 6 inches. The IQNX. Oh, sorry. Alright. Okay, let's do IQNX first. The IQNX is all plastic. And this is with the mat. All right. Hope that was helpful. The IQNX has Co-Star stabs that are pre-lubed. They're probably the best factory stabs I've ever used here. Is this better than the Singa V3? They're different markets. I couldn't really say. So I know you guys probably like the sound of this with foam, but the flexibility is absolutely obliterated. This feels like an aluminum plate now. So there's no way. There's no point to using a polycarbonate plate if you're going to put foam in it. All right. The yellows are not lubed. The browns are also not lubed. All right. So we should probably start to wrap up. Any other questions? The A80 is a ping master. Yes, a lot of ping. Does it sound like a PC sound profile with a loose stiffness? It honestly doesn't even sound like polycarbonate anymore. It kind of sounds like aluminum. Don't use the case foam. This keyboard won't work without a plate. Do I have any pre-orders coming up? I haven't really. I don't really buy stuff anymore. Do I like it? I like it so far. I didn't get the SAT 60. I don't know what that is. Unicorns. I don't know. Fine. I don't really use it. For the price, GMMK Pro it isn't just not bad. It's pretty good. Is it easy to open up the A80? This is a pain in the ass to open up. You have to like get under feet, and then there's like a sticker that you gotta undo, and then you have to pry open a bunch of clips. It's terrible. Plateless hot swap sounds like a bad time. Wait, why are you guys talking about plateless? I'm telling you, plateless doesn't work. What was your huge purchase recently? I bought a house. What board do I normally use? I've been using this one because it's wireless. I guess I would probably use IDV60 otherwise. There's nothing wrong with the unicorn, I just don't use it. Wilba Salvation. Yeah, I'm not gonna get that one, it's too expensive. Oh, thank you everyone. Oh, you know, with the millions I make off of YouTube, I'm able to buy a house. Are we allowed to ask what you do for a living? I did reveal that I was a programmer a while back. Keep Nirvana. Yeah, there does need to be a whole bunch of more IDV mount keyboards. They're very good. Now I just need Glorious to make this with like as a TKL maybe with no knob. That'd probably be too boring. Yeah, lots of programmers in the hobby. How do you feel about keycaps lifted up higher than most custom boards? Oh. I haven't thought about that. And it looks like you're right. I'm pushing them all the way down. And this is... Yeah, it looks like this is just barely high pro. Oh, maybe not even quite high pro. And, oh, okay. Looks like we found one oversight with this board. That's basic. That's totally sort of like a mistake that one would make breaking into the hobby. Because, you know, Rama M65A did something similar to that. And since then, we've sort of moved away from doing that and covering more of the keycaps. I guess the other thing is, because it is gasket, you could maybe put some more material on the top side to fix this, but that gets into kind of jank territory, so that's that. Will I do a K80? I don't even know what that is. All right, let's take one more question and we'll end it. Thanks for subbing, Hordy AWH. Novel Key released the K80? And that's different from the NK87 or whatever? Is the GMMK Pro really worth it? Yeah, it seems like a fantastic deal. What's my favorite food? I've been enjoying sushi. How do you feel about the marketing disaster that happened with the GMMK Pro? Marketing disaster? I don't know if it was a disaster. It was, I mean, it was cringe, like every other glorious thing, but yeah. Who do I think this keyboard is for? That's a great question. And that's the question we'll end on. This keyboard, it's gonna be weird saying this, but I think this is a great beginner's entry custom. Because it does actually feel like a proper custom. It doesn't feel like a sad attempt at a custom by a large company. Uh, you do need to get over the cringe marketing, but yeah, even beyond that, it does seem like you could potentially end the game with this, and I think a lot of people will, because, you know, a lot of people buy one premium keyboard and then they were like, okay, I mean, that's it. A lot of people do that with Leopold, I assume. Um, but yeah, this keyboard is for the entry custom. Uh, it may actually kind of prevent you from venturing further because it seems pretty good. But yeah, I think if you like flexible keyboards, this is a great thing to have for sort of a like kind of an unbeatable price. I did not get a giant box of boxes. This is regular purchase. This is $170, $20 for the plate, free shipping, I think. These are the KBD 67 Lite. I haven't even touched the 67 Lite, and I can tell you this is probably going to feel more premium. All right, I think I'm going to end it there. Hope you found this stream useful. I will try and get timestamps up. Please don't think I'm a shill because I spoke positively about this keyboard. This keyboard does have a lot of merits, but full review will be coming. Don't take this as a review. I did not exchange money again. There is no monetary relationship with me or Glorious or any other keyboard vendor. So yeah, thanks for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and have a good night. I'll see you in the next one. I can just end the stream.